Hello, New York Giants fans, and welcome to another edition of the Valentine's Views podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're listening across the big Blue View Radio network, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, this is our Friday show, and it's our weekly crossover preview show. That means we're talking about the Giants-Arizona Cardinals game this Sunday. And joining me on the show to do that is Walter Mitchell of SB Nation's Revenge of the Birds. Walter, thank you very, very much for a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. I'm happy to join you and talk Giants-Cardinals football.
You had told me offline that I believe you're a Jersey guy initially.
Actually, a New York guy, and my uncle took me to my first pro football game at Yankee Stadium in 1963, and it was Cardinals-Giants. It was November 24th, the weekend of JFK's assassination, unfortunately, and they decided to play the game. And in warm-ups, I fell in love with number 8 on the Cardinals, Larry Wilson, the free safety. And I asked my uncle if he wouldn't mind if I was a Cardinal fan. And he said, yeah, okay, no problem. And he bought me a Cardinals pennant. And we went to a whole bunch of games after that when the Cardinals came in. And I've enjoyed the rivalry. I still wish we were in the NFC East with y'all and the Cowboys and all that and Redskins. But it is what it is now. But the rivalry has always been good. And I've enjoyed it over the years.
Nice. I was going to ask you how you got to be a Cardinals fan, but you explained that one pretty well. And it's interesting because, obviously I cover the Giants, but one of my sons is a New England Patriots fan.
Uh-huh.
And he's a Patriots fan for the simple reason that he was like 11 years old and he sat down next to me during the 2007 Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And he said, if I'm going to sit here and watch the game, I'm going to aggravate you by rooting for the Patriots. and it just stayed that way. So I have to deal with that.
But didn't you get the last laugh in that one?
And the one after that.
Yeah.
So I still have the upper hand there, but anyway, Walter, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm sure you'll hear it all year long, but we have to start with the way that the Cardinals are approaching this season.
Right.
Basically shedding players like crazy, leaving Kyler Murray on the shelf, sending Isaiah Simmons to the Giants among those players that they've shed, and basically, obviously, looking to the future and tanking in hopes of landing Caleb Williams in the draft. How do you feel about what the Cardinals are doing? Is it hard to stomach? Is it understandable? I personally have never been through that, with a team that I root for. So I don't know how I would approach it.
It's tough, Ed, because like here we were in week 1 and had a fourth quarter lead over the Redskins at Landover, Maryland. And our defense is playing on fire. Special teams is playing great. But I still can't understand how the Cardinals bring in a quarterback 2 weeks before the start of the season and decide to start him. I thought the quarterback play from the Cardinals cost us a game. And it was very frustrating. I mean, when you're right there and getting so excited, you want to see those defensive players get rewarded they had 6 sacks and they were playing all over the field, playing their hearts out. And but unfortunately, we turned the ball over twice on fumbles from the quarterback. So the Redskins took advantage, the Commanders, and it was a very frustrating loss. I took it very hard. I was very upset about it. I'm not one of those fans who can be comfortable with losing games. I mean, as a lifelong Cardinals fans, fan, I've had enough of losing. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't see any gain that comes from losing. Yeah, you can tank and hope to get like a Caleb Williams, but there are reports that he doesn't want, to go to the Cardinals. So, and he could stay in school to avoid that.
Mhm.
So, I'd rather see the team try to win and put its best foot forward. Plus, we got the youngest coaching staff now in the league, and I don't know how it helps them if they end up being, 3-14. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I compare it to a couple of years ago. The one thing that, having written about the Giants now for a number of years, I look back to a few years ago when the Giants were bad and they had an opportunity to perhaps get the number 2 overall pick in the draft.
Right.
And what happened is the Giants beat the Commanders at the end of the year. They won 2 out of 3 games at the end of the year.
Right.
They played their way out of the number 2 pick, and everybody was frothing at the mouth, dying to get Chase Young. We have to have Chase Young. We have to. There's no
Right.
choice. Everything is a failure if we don't get Chase Young. There's no point to winning games.
Right.
Well, the Giants won too many games. They beat Washington. Washington ends up with the number 2 pick. They get Chase Young. The Giants end up with the number 4 pick. They take Andrew Thomas,
Right.
who's now an all-pro left tackle. You tell me who got the better end of that deal. Who got the better end of that? I never believe that there's a point to losing. I always want to see my teams go out and win games and try to win games.
Yep.
These guys, they put their bodies on the line. They work at this game for years and years.
Right.
The old Herm Edwards thing is you play to win the game.
Right.
But I feel bad for these guys wearing Cardinals uniforms who know that the front office, they didn't want Colt McCoy to be the quarterback because
Right.
Colt McCoy might have won that game in week 1. Josh Dobbs threw it away, which makes nobody in the Cardinals locker room is happy about that. Nobody in the fan base is happy about that. Monty Austinfort in the front office is probably sitting up there thinking, that's why Josh Dobbs is here.
Well, yeah, I wrote about this on Revenge of the Birds Head, and I see the whole quarterback situation as a charade. I mean, it's just egregious to me. Cardinals had 4 quarterbacks in camp. Colt has been struggling with arm issues, and he's really sort of at the end of his, career. I think if he had been healthier, he might have stuck, but it just became so apparent that he just couldn't drive the ball down the field. But even game managing last week, I agree with you. I think Colt would have helped us win. But bringing in, I had 4 quarterbacks. We had a rookie 5th rounder in Clayton Tune who played pretty well in the preseason. We were very encouraged by him. Our rookie's ready to start game 1. I mean, all of them lost this week, but
Right.
But I'd rather get his experience going, and maybe we got a good, quarterback in that room for the next 4 years, right?
Right.
So they bypass him, saying he's a rookie and not ready. We had David Blau, who started 2 games for us last year and played pretty well. I would have preferred him over any quarterback coming in with not knowing the team, not knowing the offense, as well as he certainly could. I mean, he had ties to our offensive coordinator at Cleveland, but still, he even admitted that the new offense was nuanced in ways that he didn't, see in Cleveland. So, but then we had Jeff Driscoll as well. I mean, Josh Dobbs had started 2 NFL games, both at the end of last year. David Blau has 7 NFL starts. Jeff Driscoll has 10. I mean, I don't get it. And you gave up a 5th round pick. And here's the most galling thing, and you're a part of this, is that we just traded. You're talking about trading away players. We just traded the number 8 pick in the 2020 draft, Isaiah Simmons, for a 7th round pick, coming off a preseason game in which he showed a lack of effort on a couple plays. That, if you go back to last year, I mean, he had a good season at outside linebacker. I mean, his PFF grade was near 70. I mean, he had 4 sacks. He did a lot of things right. Now they're trying him at free safety, a totally different position, which I thought he could handle. But, so we dump him. We dump in my opinion, our, highest graded tackle in Josh Jones to the Texans. They're starting him at left guard. He's not a left guard, but they need to have a need there. But for a 5th round pick that we turn around and give for Josh Dobbs, a career backup. So the net result, Ed, was losing Josh Jones, who was the highest graded player on our roster last year, and Isaiah Simmons, who was the 4th highest defensive rated player last year, for Josh Dobbs and a 7th round pick. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, if you want to do trades and stuff, but I just can't fathom how you can sell that to a fan base. Also, here's the other thing, Ed. When you have a new quarterback in, how do we get emotionally attached to a new guy we haven't seen all year? I mean, how does the team get emotionally attached? And the new quarterback himself. I mean, and what really pissed me off was that after turning the ball away and giving up the lead, he fumbles a snap and he doesn't even hop on it. Tries to pick it up in traffic. It gets knocked out of his hands, and again, turn the ball over. I say a quarterback who's emotionally involved with his teammates would never do that. I mean, it's rule of thumb. You know enough about football. Ball's on the turf and it's not 4th down. You don't try to pick it up. I mean, look what Daniel Jones did in the first drive against the Cowboys when the snap went errant. I mean, to his credit, he fell on the ball rather than risk turning it over. Unfortunately, I guess you missed the field goal, but at least you still had a try at it. But that's where this whole quarterback thing, with the trades involved and the way it's happened, is just a total charade.
Walter, let's turn to another topic that has people kind of snickering at the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And that has to be the rookie head coach, Jonathan Gannon. A lot of people are shaking their heads going, this guy wasn't a good defensive coordinator. The Eagles are happy. The Eagles practically shoved him out the door and said, you want to take a head coaching job? You go right ahead, and there have been memes and, about things that Gannon has said and speeches that he's made. And just what are your thoughts on Jonathan Gannon? I mean, as a legitimate NFL head coach?
Well, he brings energy. We needed some energy in the building, and he does that. He's an aggressive coach. For not doing a good job, I mean, he had the number 1 defense in the NFL last year or so. And Eagles fans, as you know, they're
different.
Yeah, they throw snowballs at Santa Claus. I mean, so that part of it I kind of get, is they're highly critical of just about everybody, but the way in which he was acquired, breaking the NFL rules, Super Bowl rules of contacting a coach and him accepting the call, and then so putting that on himself and then kind of lying about it later, like he didn't really know he was going to get interviewed, when in fact he had to have known. That was so dubious and typical of our owner, who's the number one issue and problem in my opinion, in the organization. Kind of the way he does business, and he's now being in the line of fire for using burner phones when Steve Keim was suspended. So breaking the NFL rules there, and asking a brand new head coach to do that who was uncomfortable in Steve Wilkes, and then firing Wilkes after that season. I mean, it's snowballs and snowballs. But getting back to Gannon, he certainly has made an impact immediately on defense. I have not seen our defense play as physically and as aggressively as they played in week one. I'm hoping it'll carry over this week to your game, although I fear that you have the offense to exploit our weaknesses on defense, which is basically not containing the quarterback, and your guy can run it really well, and defending screens, busting up screens. Those have been traditional weaknesses for the Cardinals, and the Redskins took advantage of that. So, but overall, the defense really played well, and so that's encouraging, and they're fired up. What hasn't happened yet is we don't have any identity really on offense.
I would think if you watched the Sunday night game, Giants-Cowboys, and the way the Giants offensive line played, I would think that you would feel like if there's a matchup advantage for Arizona, if there's something that the Cardinals can take advantage of, it would be the Giants offensive line and the opportunity to get after Daniel Jones a little bit.
Yeah. And we've got some rushers there, I think, that possibly could. What we can't do is rush him too wide off the edge, because he'll just take off through the crease,
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, I don't know if we're disciplined enough yet with our edge people to do that. I think Zaven Collins probably is. On the other side, we've got some fast guys like Dennis Gardeck and BJ Ojolari, the brother of Aziz. And those guys tend to take wide pass. And that's what worries me, is we don't seem to have defensive tackles that have lane integrity on their rushes. We get caught inside a lot. So now you have this gaping hole between the edge rush and the tackle. So, and Jones is really good at exploiting that. I'm worried about that in the game. If they can keep him pent into the pocket, we'll probably have a chance. Otherwise, and also we defended the run really well against the Redskins, which was a great surprise. Held them to under 100 yards and 3.3 average. So containing Saquon is going to be a huge task for us as well. I thought at the beginning of your game, Ed, I thought your offensive interior line with their double teams on the tackles were getting great push up front. I was really impressed with that. That opening drive was looking stellar until the muff snap from your rookie. If they come out with that kind of intensity this week, it'll be interesting to see if the Cardinals can somehow still defend the run as well as they did last week.
Walter, I want to ask you about a guy who's no longer with the Cardinals, but a guy who Giants fans are really interested in. The way that the Giants offensive line struggled in week one, Giants fans are very, very interested in Justin Pugh. All right, who's still sitting out there as a free agent, played some good football for a number of years for the Cardinals. I know, because I've talked to Justin, I know that Justin would love to come back to New York and play for the Giants and finish his career that way. He's 33 now. He's coming off, a mid-season torn ACL. I'm just curious how much you think he's got left in the tank, and can he still step in and be a quality player?
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. I love that guy, Justin Pugh. Plus, he bleeds whatever team's color. he's on. I thought he played really well for the Cardinals at left guard. He held up pretty well until last year. He had lost a lot of weight over the offseason. I think he was questioning whether he ought to retire because he had a baby coming. But he got a nice contract offer to stay on with the Cardinals, and he took it. And he got injured pretty early in the season, so his rehab, I think, is complete now, Ed. And I would do everything you can to go and get him. He would be a great addition. He's just got the mentality and the skill. I mean, he really grew into that left guard job. And as you know, in our division with Aaron Donald and players like that, I thought he handled himself really well. He graded really well. He's a leader. He knows exactly how to lead the people around him. He's a captain type in my book. Yeah, I would encourage you guys to reach out to him. And he's a New Yorker through and through. I mean, he would just crush it coming back, I think. A Syracuse guy. That'd be a nice renaissance for him. Great way for him to end his career.
Yeah, Giants fans would like that very much. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to throw this out. It's a little different question. Kyler Murray, who's on the shelf for you guys right now, I think was number 1 overall pick. Daniel Jones was the number 6 overall pick, same draft class.
Right.
Everybody kind of snickered at the Giants for taking Daniel Jones at that point in the draft that year. If you could have your choice of the 2 players right now, which one are you going to take?
Oh man, I know that's trending on the on Twitter now because there are some posts on Twitter that claim that Daniel Jones is the best quarterback of that draft. The problem I have with Kyler is he's great in September and October, but once you get to Thanksgiving, he wears down. And if Kyler could show us that he could finish a season strongly, which he hasn't done yet, then skill-wise, I would take Kyler over Daniel Jones. Because Kyler just, he's got the total package. What he lacks is Jones' physicality, obviously, and Jones's pocket vision. I think Jones has matured so well, Ed. I'm very impressed with him. I thought the year he had last year was a breakthrough season. He got the contract. He's with a great coach. I mean, that's what I'm worried about Kyler is we need to get a coach for Kyler, in my opinion, would be a Brian Daboll type influence on Kyler. And I'm shocked that the Cardinals didn't really do that in the offseason. So, but that's a great question. Right now, obviously, you'd take Jones. He's on the field, and he's trending upward. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of questions about Kyler coming back. Is he going to come back this year? Are they,
does he even have a future in Arizona? Are they looking to move on from him?
I think both the Cardinals and Kyler are feeling each other out right now. It wouldn't surprise me if Kyler wants to go somewhere else, if that's possible. Although he's done everything the coaches and organization has asked him to do in the offseason, although with a caveat, it was part of his new contract. He got $10 million in incentives to train in the Cardinals facilities in the offseason.
That's a nice workout bonus.
Yeah, that was a cool little quirk in the contract. But I think it's a wait and see. I'd be fascinated to see if he comes back at all this year. I mean, if the Cardinals are still struggling on offense in 4 weeks, and the offensive line played the way they did, as poorly as they did against the Commanders, which a lot of teams, the Commanders' defense is going to blow up a lot of offensive lines. and as an opening game, that was tough. But
Mm-hmm.
I could see Kyler not wanting to risk coming back just yet under those conditions. If the team's 0-4, the decision will be entirely his, in my opinion, Ed. If he wants to come back and play, no one's going to stop him. And it'd be to the coach's advantage to want to see him play, to see how he fits into the new offense, and if he jives with the new coordinator, Drew Petzing. So, but I like where you are. What do you think about Daniel Jones and where he is right now? How would you answer that question?
Oh, I think that Daniel Jones has grown immensely. I think that Daniel Jones is a good NFL quarterback. I do not think that Daniel Jones is ever going to be one of those guys who you look at and you say he's a top 5, top 6 guy.
Right.
But I think that Daniel Jones can do a lot of things. I think that there was a lot of gnashing of teeth, after Sunday about the fact that Jones didn't play well, and he didn't play well. But there were throws that were off target. There were throws that were late, and it was apparent that he was out of sorts, that he was flustered. And yet you look at the numbers, and I don't think any quarterback in week 1 was under more duress than Daniel Jones.
Right.
He got sacked 7 times. He got hit 12. He ran 13 times, and I think 10 or 11 of those were scrambles out of the pocket where he's like, I have to get out of Dodge.
Yes.
So I look at that and I think, I don't know of any quarterback who you're down 16 or 19 to nothing before the blink of an eye and you're running for your life all night. I don't know if there are many quarterbacks or any quarterbacks who wouldn't have been flustered, who wouldn't have said, I have to take some risks. I have to take some chances. Maybe I don't make the safest decisions with the football because we're down so much. We have to make a play. I know Eli Manning, when Eli Manning was Giants quarterback, Eli would throw interceptions at ends of games. All right. Giants would be behind, and this isn't necessarily what Jones did the other night, but Eli would say, the heck with it. We're down 2 or 3 scores. It's late. This is not a throw I should make, but I'm going to make this throw anyway, because if it gets intercepted, who cares? It's just not a big deal. We have to have a play, and I'll throw this ball. Maybe something good will happen. Something bad might happen too. But at this point, if something bad happens, it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't.
And I just thought the other night, I thought Daniel Jones was frustrated and discombobulated and making some throws that it's like, okay, we're behind and we just, I'll just make this throw. The thing I felt bad about the other night was, why did the Giants leave him in the game to take that pounding in the fourth quarter? But anyway, let me wrap up. A couple things I wanted to ask you before we wrap up.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about the Cardinals tanking a little bit and looking forward to next year. When you look ahead to the trade deadline, can you see the Cardinals putting anybody else on the block?
Yes. Rondale Moore. He's a kid who could fit in your system. I'm surprised you guys didn't go after Zay Flowers in the draft. I thought he would have been a perfect guy for you.
I loved Zay Flowers. I really did.
But that said, some others would be James Conner, but you don't need a running back right now. I think that it's possible. I know some teams like the Cowboys have showed interest in him already. I mean, he is a stud, Ed. He is a bell cow deluxe. You get him with the right offensive line. Oh, my goodness. The only thing is with him is he runs a little high and gets a little nicked up, but taking the pounding that any running back like him would at his size and frame is going to have an impact. But he delivers it right back too. He's a bull. Another couple players that I think might are Marquise Brown. Uh, you know, he's Kyler's guy, but Kyler's not around, and you know he's chomping at the bit to kind of get a breakthrough season going. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get that in Arizona, but at his speed and playmaking ability, I mean, I think he'd be a valuable addition to a team. Now, the issue with that is his salary. He's on a fifth year option, but by mid-season, if a team can afford the, I think he'd probably have, you know, $6 million left on his yearly contract, something in that neighborhood, maybe five. So he's one I would look at. DJ Humphries, tackle, lots of experience. I could see the car, you know, if a tackle needed him, you don't with you know your guys, but at least right now. And then on the defensive side of the ball, one guy who stands out to me perhaps a little bit is tackle Carlos Watkins. I really like the kid. We just got him in from the Cowboys. You probably remember him. He was part of their rotation. He's playing really well for us. He's on a 1-year deal, Ed. So, you know, I mean, if the Cardinals can get draft picks for anyone right now, I think they're going to do it. And our draft pick situation next year is the best it's ever been. I mean, we have 2 first-rounders, 1 second, 2 third-rounders. We have 3 fifth-rounders, a 4th-rounder. I mean, there's a lot of wiggle room there. So, and I think they'll just keep trading people until they get as many picks as they want.
All right. Last thing for you, Walter. You want to make a quick prediction on how you think Sunday's going to go?
I'd be surprised if the Cardinals won, just because I don't think offensively, if it's a game of quarterbacks, I think Jones has a huge advantage. I'll be interested to see if the Cardinals defense sustains the momentum and intensity they had against the Commanders. It's a home game for the Cardinals. We haven't won at home at all last couple of years, Ed. So there are streaks going on there. I think the crowd will be fired up. Cardinals have pretty good special teams, so if it came down to special teams, but I think that Jones will do enough to win that game, and it might be even comfortable at the end.
Nice. All right. Hey, Walter, thank you very, very much for spending some time with us, dropping some Cardinals knowledge on us. And Giants fans, if you want the Cardinals perspective, it's over at Revenge of the Birds. So give those guys a read. All right, Giants fans, we'll be talking to you again soon. So thank you for listening, and take care of each other. Bye-bye now.